Anything else? I want, before we're running out of time, I want to read a little bit on the spiritual world, entering the spiritual world, a little bit about description of the spiritual world, a little bit away from the philosophy. There's plenty of philosophy there, but a little bit on pastimes. So these are very confidential, very beautiful pastimes. So do listen very carefully. Looking around in all directions, I spotted in the distance a town adorned with the essence of all sweetness. On one side of that town, all about, I heard wonderful songs, sung by cowherd women, and the charming sound of the churning of butter and the jingling of bangles. Trying to subdue my agitated joy, I walked forward and came across a seated elderly gentleman, sobbing profusely, incessantly chanting, "Krishna, Krishna!" This is Goloka, the highest spiritual realm. And here is an elderly gentleman. He is sobbing, crying, and incessantly, constantly. Incessantly means all the time, chanting Krishna, 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 Krishna. With some skillful effort, I made him speak. And I heard him say in a choked voice that this town belonged to Nanda, the king of the cowherds, Sri Krishna's father. As soon as I heard these words, I fainted, overcome with delight. Now, just hearing that, Gopa Kumar fainted because he has reached his final destination. That is Raganuga Bhakti. After a moment, that compassionate old man revived me, and I ran ahead and approached the gateway of the town and sat there in the gate. And there I saw, by the hundreds of thousands and tens of millions, all sorts of wonders, unseen, unheard of, unimaginable by anyone of this world. That is Goloka. That is a very beautiful description. Tens of millions, all sorts of wonders, unseen, unheard of, unimaginable by anyone here in this material world. O best of Brahmanas, I could not discern whether the people were all enjoying in highest bliss or suffering in the grip of terrible misery. I heard the gopis' song coupled with their crying, but were they songs of the greatest contentment or the greatest sorrow? I could not tell. A person seeing that place might think he was in the material world. But by carefully reflecting on whatever I had seen before, I would understand he was now somewhere above all material planets, all higher non-planetary regions, and all the transcendental realm of the spiritual world. Then an elderly lady came. I bowed down to her and asked her in a plaintive voice where Sri Nandan was playing today. The elderly lady said, "This morning, that giver of life to us Rajvasis went into the dense forest to play. with his cows and friends and his respected elder brother. Later, at dusk, he will return. All the Vrajavasis are waiting on this path along the Jamuna, their eyes transfixed on the road. These trees stand with leaves erect, eagerly awaiting the chance to see him. Surely he will come along this path. That is real eagerness. If we could get a drop of this eagerness, our Krishna consciousness will be sorted. Sri Gopa Kumar said, as if anointed by a downpour of the purest nectar, I gazed with one-pointed attention down the path the old lady had pointed out. The sheer force of my ecstasy had frozen my thighs, but with some effort I moved on, and I heard from afar a certain sound, mixed with the mooing of the cows. It was a supremely attractive murmur of Krishna's enchanting flute. That sound, sweet melodies of sportingly played notes, diverse with musical embellishments, was like nothing ever heard in the material world. Its attractive force at once overwhelmed everyone in the cowherd village. By the power of that sound, sap flowed in a downpour from the long rows of trees. A flood of tears fell from the eyes of every embodied being in the village of the cowherds. A shower of milk rained from the breasts of all of Krishna's mothers, even the elderly, and the rapid currents of the Jamuna suddenly stood still. This is going, of course, completely against the laws of material nature. The river doesn't suddenly stand still, but in the ecstasy of Krishna is coming, then the Jamuna suddenly stood still. And milk poured down from the breast of Krishna's mothers. Krishna's mothers, because Krishna had himself expanded into their sons and boys. It's a Brahma Vimohan Leela. And so actually this accepted all these gopis, elderly gopis, as his mother. I didn't know whether that flute gave out poison or the nectar of immortality. Whether its sound was harsh like thunder or soft like water, hotter than blazing fire or cooler than the moon, I couldn't tell. But that sound drove all the Vrajavasis mad. All of them were utterly bewildered. Then I saw some women of Raj coming out of their homes, bearing in their hands the things needed to greet Krishna with worship. Others who passed by held ornaments and offerings of food on their heads. Other ladies, ignoring everything around them, ran towards the mingled sound of the mooing of the cows and the song of the flute. In the frenzy of love of Krishna, the ladies stumbled down the path. Some ladies ran with their ornaments in disarray. Some could hardly keep their belts and hair tied. Some stayed in their homes, stunned like trees, and others fell unconscious to the ground. Some of the women had fainted, their faces wet with tears and saliva, were carried forward by their girlfriends. Other ladies, painted by the urges of their love for Krishna, went ahead, pressed on by their friends. Come, see him. The ladies, so diverse in complexion and adorned with diverse ornaments and dress, put to shame the good fortune of the goddess of fortune herself. Swiftly the ladies ran to the bank of Jamuna, absorbed in singing his names and pastimes. I too went forward, as if pulled by someone, joining the throng of gopis rushing forward on all sides. I too began to run quickly. Then, from a distance, I saw him, his charming flute in hand, running quickly. He emerged from amongst his friends and animals and approached me, saying in a sweet voice, "Look, Sridham, here is my dear friend Swarup, the sun who shines on the lotus of our family." And so on. So this is Vrindavan. The closest I have experienced to that was when Srila Prabhupada came to New Mayapur in 76, 1 year before his disappearance. And I had the good fortune of being there. It was just so mesmerizing. It was exactly that attraction, that spiritual attraction was exactly, as we just heard, as described. If we meet a pure devotee, that is just like meeting Krishna. The attraction, that emotions, that is all there. How else? When Srila Prabhupada left after 3 days only, I ran beside that car with Srila Prabhupada inside and offered dandavats. The car moved slowly down the path through the forest, offering dandavats at the side of the car. In the bushes and prickles, whatever was there, it wasn't just a clean road. And got quickly up and ran again, and dandavats, and quickly up and ran again until the bottom of the road. That wasn't planned. It just happened like that. It was just so attractive and so spiritually potent and powerful. Just like Gopa Kumar, I couldn't help her. I did not know what overcame me. It was just happening like that. So this is the spiritual attraction of a pure devotee, or spiritual attraction of Krishna in Goloka is all the same. Even that can be experienced within this material world. And Vrindavan is within this material world. So, this attraction, we want a drop of this attraction to the holy name of the Lord. A drop, just a fraction of a drop of this attraction. And we cannot even live without chanting Hare Krishna. That's our refuge. That is our everything. If we can get a drop of this attraction for chanting the holy name and the attraction for Vaishnava Sangha and attraction for reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we are sorted. That's all. If we don't have that attraction, we should pray to get it. Hare Krishna. What do you say, Rashmi?
Yes, Prabhuji. Now I started doing it out of duty. I don't have an attraction, but I don't feel it as a burden. I feel it as though, when there is if you don't do it, it is not right.
Yes, good.
Yes. So I will not say I am not at all attracted to it, but I don't like taking, for example, I hate taking shower. I don't like taking bath, but I have to take bath, but I don't like taking it. So for me, it is like that, compulsory. I have to take it because you can't do without it.
Yes, that's it. That's good. That's good.
But there is no attraction, Prabhuji. There is no attraction.
That attraction will arise from that.
That is very high, I think. That will take years. But
well,
Prabhuji,
whatever. Srila Prabhupada said, just a minute. It will come whenever it will come.
But attraction to the Vaishnavas comes very naturally. Like I'm very attracted to you. I'm very attracted to Mataji. It just, I don't have to make an effort. It is natural. That
okay,
just comes.
The attraction to the holy name will just become like that. Like the attraction to Vaishnava. That is the beginning. That is, yes, of course. Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, devotional service, the chanting, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. Then the dirty things will disappear, and it goes on and on and on and on.
Prabhuji, today Mataji told us a very it was quite shocking story. She told us that about her incident, that she was present in the Shivaram Swami. I don't know who she was talking about.
I know Shivaram Swami very well. Yes.
So she said that she was in the so Shivaram Swami apparently was suffering from liver cancer, and he was doing Brahmin initiation on that day. It was his very first Brahmin initiation he had agreed to do.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yes, long time ago. So how many years ago, Prabhuji?
20, more than 20.
Yeah, maybe. So it must be, she was talking about that time. So she said that because he was liver cancer, the doctors were giving him drugs which were making his memory go bad. So she said that, I don't know this, Prabhuji, you will know all this, but apparently you say Gayatri mantra or something to the who you are initiating. So the
initiation, yes, he says a Gayatri mantra, the spiritual master says a Gayatri mantra in the right ear of the disciple.
So he could not say, he forgot. He said the first few words and he just could not remember. So he could not remember. So he called Indradyumna Swami. So Indradyumna Swami, he said, you tell me to me and I will tell to the disciple.
Nice.
So Indradyumna Swami came and he started to say, he also forgot. So then Indradyumna Swami said, okay, so they found some Brahmin. They called some Brahmin, okay? And they said, you know Gayatri Mantra? He said, yes. So they called this Brahmin. So Indradyumna Swami told this Brahmin, you tell me, I will tell Maharaj and Maharaj.
Beautiful.
So this whole drama, Mataji said it was a proper drama going on. And she was very young that time. She said I was in my late 30s, early 40s, something like that. So she said that I was just watching this drama and wondering now what is going to happen. She was already initiated at that time. So this drama was going on. So then this, words were being passed like that. So Shivaram Swami said, he said, bus. He said, stop. And he said to the disciple, he said, your mantra is Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Eva Kevalam. He said, you do not need any Maha Mantra. You do not need any mantra. Hare Krishna, that is your mantra. So that was that day, all the initiations which happened, Brahman initiations, there was no Gayatri mantra. There was just Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
That's fine. You know how Srila Prabhupada did the Gayatri Mantra for disciples all around the world? Huh?
No.
He made a cassette tape at the time, and that cassette tape was played to the disciples. So there's so many inventive methods. But yes, Hare Krishna is sufficient.
So
beautiful story. Beautiful story.
Yeah. See, it was a very nice story. So she was just telling us this incident about today only. From the Bhagavad Gita verse, suddenly we went to the chanting. Ultimately, I've realized one thing, Prabhuji. Whatever we study, all the verses that we do, the whole aim is, I think Srila Prabhupada's only message to us is chant. Somehow or the other, every verse is telling you, just chant. When you will chant, the knowledge will just reveal itself.
Yes, through the heart, of course. You remember the story? We talked about it before, where Srila Prabhupada, that why you think I have written all these books? Huh? Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and all the books. I wrote these books to convince you to chant Hare Krishna. Interesting take. So that shows that is absolutely central. If someone claims to be a devotee and on the Raga Nuga platform he doesn't chant Hare Krishna, there is something seriously wrong.
Prabhuji, I feel, the more you read Srila Prabhu, I used to always wonder that how all the devotees are why they have so much love for Srila Prabhupada. Why I can't see what is there in him, which is so attractive. I used to see that in you. I used to see in Mataji, other devotees also. Everybody absolutely dedicated to Srila Prabhupada.
It's very difficult for someone from an Indian background because all what you see is an elderly Indian gentleman.
Exactly. But now, Prabhuji, since I am so regular with all these classes and Mataji does not have a single class where she will not speak of some incident about Srila Prabhupada. Somehow or the other, she scrutinizes every line and then she will find something to say about him. I have also started becoming very attracted to him, so much so that she was saying something from one book called Leelamrita. So I found that book and I've started to read it. I'm really enjoying reading the book.
It's coming in a new version with a new title. It's called Prabhupada. That is a reprint. That's the same book.
It's the Maharaj who's written. His name starts with S.
Satsvarup Goswami.
S, yeah. So, but
it's very difficult for someone coming from an Indian background, and even at the time it was very difficult for Srila Prabhupada too. His father Gomohan Dey, he brought all kind of sadhus, various sadhus from all kind of shades, even Mayavad sadhus and this and that. He invited them to his home and fed them, and Srila Prabhupada saw that, and Srila Prabhupada could understand. No one was really bona fide sadhu, or so he had so much experience from sadhus. Another one. Then when his friend invited him to meet Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he didn't want to go. It's just another sadhu. It's just another Indian gentleman. I mean, I shouldn't say what I said before, just an elderly Indian gentleman, an elder Indian sadhu, right? But anyone from an Indian background has seen so many sadhus. Western is difficult. We haven't seen any sadhus. So he didn't want to go to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and his friend had to drag him.
Yeah.
So same. So
yeah.
But I have been asked many times, what is a defining attachment to Srila Prabhupada? It was nice to meet him in 76, but that wasn't a defining attachment. I was attached before by reading Bhagavad Gita. So the defining attachment to Srila Prabhupada came from hearing his classes, reading his books. There it came from. So the message is, it doesn't need to, you have personal association or you have been in the presence of Srila Prabhupada. That is not what can give that deep attachment. That deep attachment comes from just hearing the message. That's all. I'm convinced of that. It's not because I met Srila Prabhupada. No. I was attached before I met Srila Prabhupada and afterwards. And I have analyzed that. Of course, that was beautiful and defining also. But just by listening properly to the message, one gets the attachment. No doubt. An attachment to the pure devotee, a drop of mercy, a speck of dust from his lotus feet will make life successful. No question.
It is. Yeah, I agree with you, Prabhuji. Just by reading his books, that attachment, when you see the effort put in, then automatically that the work which he has done is tremendous. You know, Prabhuji, I was just going through, I like to look at his videos. I find them very calming. His videos are very calming, not the ones where he's giving lecture, you know, just where he's taking walks and he's giving those cookies to the children. Those videos are very sweet. So I was just going through some videos, and then one video came where they were doing his samadhi. I did not realize that was going to happen. And I could not watch that video. I switched it off, and I don't think I will ever want to watch it again. It was heart-wrenching.
That is good. That is good, sir. That heart-wrenching, that feeling we must get, sir.
It was not possible that. So, yeah, I think that is, I am attracted to him. Otherwise, I would have been able to, if that attachment was not there, I would have been able to easily watch the video. But because the attachment is there, you can't watch something like that if you're attached to the person. It's very difficult.
Yes, we don't. I mean, I have seen it. I felt the same. Huh? For many, many years, I didn't want to watch it. But I watched it eventually. That's a final lesson. Huh? It's a very important lesson. And Prabhupada says,
I just hit upon it accidentally. I was not looking for it. Amongst the various videos which came up, it just came up and I clicked on it. And then as soon as I realized what was happening, then I
switched it off. Yes. Hare Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada said, don't think that won't happen to you. It will happen to all of us.
Okay, Prabhuji. Should we stop, Prabhuji, now?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hopefully next time there will be more people.
Okay, more or less, it doesn't matter. One is enough. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.